Oh boy. Okay. I think I'm on now. Okay. Hello. Hello. This is let's see, Thursday, April the 11th at 2:04. Sorry about the delayed response here, guys. I am really not good at all with this technology. Can't deal with it. Can't deal with it. Anyway, just jumping on to say hello to everyone and to let you know I'm still kicking. I hope everybody out there is kicking. My wife made me some very interesting tea here from from her garden, which Lucy grows so well, uh, and in it is some lemongrass. So here I have the little French press. I'm making a mess with it. Let's see. We're going to taste it. This is my first time ever having lemongrass tea, fresh from the garden. All right, let's see here. Ooh, it smells very lemon, like a lemon drop. Oh, that's good. That's very satisfying. I have it warm. It is very soothing. Very, it's lemon flavor. I don't know, lemon flavor with hot water, but it really tastes great. Now this is supposed to have help you sleep. I don't know. I might fall asleep. We'll see. I bore myself if I haven't already bored you. Anyway, not a whole lot going on, and I like no news because that's usually good news for me, at least. It is. Um, so with that, I see some people jumping on. Hello, hello to everybody. To Sean, Renee, um, Kathy is at Nodalities. Um, and Nodalities. Nodalities says, thanks, Lucy. She goes, okay. Um, yeah. So this is what we're doing today. A bunch of nothing. But I'm going to tell you, I'm still working on my fireplace. I haven't put anything on just yet. I think it's coming down to the word that I don't want to use, which is called epoxy. So I'm going to have to, and I say epoxy because I just don't want to deal with the mess of epoxy, but it looks like I'm down to that. And what I'm talking about is trying to put these tiles onto my wall, these copper tiles. And I should show you the cool effect real quick. And just so you know, this is for you guys. They're like, "Oh my God, is that wine at Michael's house?" Yes, that is. That's a wine cabinet, and it can be full now. But my wife, she still drinks. No, here's what you do. Like this is a typical piece of just copper and just flat copper, and then I pressed in something on it, and then I put a bunch of chemicals. Um, you know, you can pee on it. You can, there's a lot of chemical reaction from pee. No, this is uh, copper chloride that I put on this, and then with some of these, like you know, you see, they're pretty cool. What you can do with just the metal, right? and then just oxidize it, or patina it with a bunch of chemicals. And I survived. And I have a wall of about 50 plates like this that I have to organize them all like puzzle pieces. And it looks pretty cool, actually, when it's all done. It's the process of, what am I going to use? What's the glue? What's the adhesive? And really, there's no argument. It has to be epoxy if I want it on there, right? Anyway, well, I see everybody saying a bunch of stuff here. Let's see. Well, thank you guys. I don't know. I try to think about show and tell. I'm like, feel like I'm at school or something. What is Michael bringing us today? Please don't let it be Egyptian. No. But it is. And here's my here's my Egyptian word of the week for you and everybody else. And I don't know if the etymology begins, shall I say, with Egypt when it comes to this word, but they were bloody sure using this word, and they even have a way they would spell it, and I could show it. But the word is Mary, and I'll say Mary. You could say Murray. Mary, the phonetic sound, and it is what it means. Till this day, it means to be beloved. In some sense, it means to be happy, um, serene, merry, peaceful. And I'm taking it that's where the word marries into the ritual of getting married to somebody, to be beloved by someone, hence the word marry. And this also, I would assume, go with what the Hebrew name Mary would be. I guess we can contest that if anybody is out there. I don't know if there's any linguistics uh, that I'm missing here, where I'm getting this wrong on the etymology, if it is originally Egyptian, but I know they were using the word. I think they call this Afro-Semitic languages and Afro-Asianic uh, cultures blending in that area. So they were using the same words, and pretty much the same language with just different dialect and orthography writing behind it all. But it seems that I don't know who the originals were on Mary. It could actually go back to the Sumerians. I don't know. Some of these words come out of there. I don't know. But the Egyptians were using it. They darn sure were. In fact, here's a cool thing. I'm just looking right here and see I can read a little bit of Egyptian here and there. And as I'm saying Mary, and I'm talking about Mary, I'm trying to get it over here. See that little crooked looking sickle thing, and underneath it you have a mouth? Says myrrh right there. Myrrh. That's exactly the first. That's funny. It says myrrh, and I've been studying the myrrh symbol because that's what that little sickle looking device that the hieroglyphic is showing. Let me see here. What is going on with that? This is what I do. I'm just sitting here all day, some days for days and weeks. People go, what is he doing? Now what that could be implying and they've used the sound myrrh in so many ways, but when you put the E at the end, the sound phonetic E, which is two papyrus reeds together, that makes a E sound. Murray, now you have the word that represents beloved. When it's by itself, it could mean bind or tie, and that seems to be what he's doing here, some sort of binding or tie or fastening. It could mean some sort of, there's something going on in the word myrrh. That's what it means right there. And it's funny, I was mentioning Murray because that symbol above it is mer, is what that would say, or mara, right? That one symbol. And the symbol underneath it, the two actually that look the same, but the symbol underneath it is a Ra symbol. It means according to, is what it kind of means. So you got Mer, and that is confirming this word right here. These two symbols come together. The one symbol is an M and an R, and this is basically an R, which is confirming the sound that it's making right there called Mer, which means to bind or fasten. And I could read that a little further and see if I can make it. I know the symbol right there next to it is me. That's in my name. It's the Hebrew word me for the word like, meaning an image like, or someone that looks like, or so like. That's the me symbol. And my Hebrew name is Michael, so it would be Mikael. Okay, that means in Hebrew, spirit like God, or spirit like El, right? Which is God. But that is the me and the ka of my name. Me means like. And once again, and so that symbol right there that you see, that's called a milk symbol. That could be where the word milk actually comes from the me symbol. It's like an MI, and it means like. So, or something, in my case, it would be me, like, wouldn't be milk, but me. And then the Ka in my name, well, in the ancient Egyptian, that means spirit. So Ka is the ancient Egyptian word for spirit. It is not Hebrew, I know that, but Hebrew, whoa, I just felt like this energy. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Sorry if I'm wrong on that, but I think Ka, because that is what they called the spirit before transformation, or the transfiguration, shall we put it. It was called the Ka when it went in to the Duat, which is the underworld, and made judgment. That's where your judgment falls upon you by the gods in the underworld, the Duat. As you make this passage, you go in as the Ka, and your Ka is made up of seven, oddly enough, the number, godly number, seven components. We can talk about this another, but when you come out of the other side, which will be what will be called the Eastern Gate, when you rise, and Kepri is pushing the great barge of Ra, and all the nine of the Enid gods are upon it with you and whomever who is. I think the barge was kind of assigned to only the pharaohs. Us, we kind of have to wander through the field of reeds, or hope we get to the field of reeds. I don't know. They don't carry you on that. Anyway, but when you come out on the other side, you're no longer your spirit. Now all the seven components from your Ka have come back together in transfiguration to create what is and they were big on supersymmetry, guys, symmetry. So when you you go into the west gate as the Ka, you come out as the opposite, the word, which is the Ak, right? So that means the replenished or transfigured spirit. That is when all the seven components of your Ka have come back together. So I know that Ka has to be Egyptian, but maybe that was a universal word also that maybe came out of Samaria that was for spirit itself. If anyone wants to contest this, please. I do know the spirits quite well, and if you want to know what the Ba, and when people mention those sorts of, those are all components. The Ren, the Shut, which is your shadow, the Ren or Rana, your name. These are fun things to me because I have questions in my mind. I'm trying to figure out um, some fun things. History's fun. It really is. And I love Egyptian history. But that's your word for the day, Mary. They were using it in ancient Egypt the same way we are using it to this day. Whether we are talking about getting married at the traditional event of two people or more in some cases, or to be happy, to even the name Mary. And I believe that it's possible that even the male version, Murray, might be of the same origin. I don't know. Find that out. Let's see. And if anybody likes this stuff, let me know. Because that really wouldn't matter to me much. You have to actually know a little bit, I guess. But if you have any questions, or you may know, I would definitely. It's a weird, fickety world of knowledge when you go down this of what is real and what isn't, and what is, and it's all fun to learn from all angles. It doesn't get me disappointed at all. When I'm looking for what I consider the truth and it all at the end of the day, and then I die, and then we're all dead, right? And then, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, what's it all? You do all this learning, and then at the end, for what? So for me, I just want to have a good time in my experience of learning, because who knows? Who knows what's happening? I don't know. When I leave, I just know that my rule of thumb is, don't treat others well in life to be able to get a better life in the afterlife, or things like that. I don't, if that's what it takes, then yeah. But treat people well in life, right? So that we can experience life together, treating it that way. I sound like a hippie. I know, because I am. I'm a hippie at heart. He's an old hippie, and he don't know what to do. Should he him to? I don't know what he can. He's an old hippie, and he don't know what to do. Should he him to? Should he born to? He's an old hippie, and he can't remember lyrics. He just had too much pot, smoked too much pot. I don't know, man. That's the old hippie for you, not me, right? Let's see. James Stephen. James means the just in Hebrew. James. James. All right, Barbara Mingo. I like this. She says James means the just in Hebrew. I'm trying to figure out where I'm so slow, guys. Please forgive me. Where I'm failing here on James. James. But I've been looking up different. My name was what I was mentioning a moment ago, which is Mikael. I'd like to know. James would definitely. I'm sure that James, what little I know about Hebrew, I definitely know that the Jah on it is going to be a reference to Yahweh or Yahweh, or Yahweh, Yahoo, whoever you want to call him. It's in different versions, but Yah is the reference to Yah, yeah. And Mas, it's according to how it was written. If you look at like a name, like I was studying just to see maybe this approach, because I'll go with the phonetic sound approach. I'm going, well, okay, let's stop looking at letters and let's go with the phonetics here. If I were in Egypt or in those areas and I made a certain sound with my mouth, of course, would would they what would they take from that? What would they understand that to be? How would they define what I would say? So things like you take the name Joshua, which is another one that anything with the J A or J the Jah on the front is a reference to Yah, which is Yahweh. So okay, you can throw that sometimes on the front of an already given name. And from the little research I've seen on Hebrew names, some of them are and appear to be Egyptian names originally, and I think the Bible even explains this, I think, with someone like Joshua, which is why I was looking that name up. I think his name was something like Hoshua, which would make sense as an Egyptian name, Ho being Horus, right? Or maybe a reference to Horus being Egyptian. Anytime you hear that, right? Um, uh, Shua can mean graceful, you know. So that kind of makes sense, graceful, something like that. Yeah, and then you throw the Yah in the front, and that's what I guess Moses supposedly did in the story from one of story that I heard, or the story that he in a story outside of maybe the Bible. I don't know. It was, but that he gave him the Yah in front of, Hoshua. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting concept. I'm just going down it, looking, seeing. I do what I do. What I do at the end of the day is the Grimm probability test. I let things bounce around and I look at things and I want to see it in stone if I can, because these things that I'm speaking about are old and they are written in stone. Most of them are literally. So, um, and then I can put together the probabilities of what's happening in these social political moments in history, that lead to some of these fascinating stories that we've heard about, that ring through the years. And if, these stories like this ring through the years like that, then boy, the cultures that go with it, if you don't think they don't ring down through the years with it also, might want to think again. But anywho, this is really good stuff. I don't know if this is like a truth elixir, this lemongrass tea. Anyway, I need to stop drinking it then. Letting too much of what I believe out might be dangerous for me. Let's see. Because I don't want to offend people. I could hear somebody saying, why don't you want to just explain? I don't want to offend anybody. I don't. Yes, Alyssa Levine. El means God in Hebrew. But Alyssa, do you know that El was also, and she's probably like, oh, here he goes, saying it's the Canaanite God. Elohi, Elohim. I don't know how it's said exactly. I know one is a plural for something that leads up to what would be called the Baal cycle. These are the Canaanite gods themselves when it was under that. This is just one perspective view that's written in stone that shows us the name for over 2,000 years. El would have been. But what's interesting about El, people don't know that they're using that word a lot, along with the word the, which is the English version. Latin version took on El. El being from the Jewish word for God, who came down through, which is the original word, or went back to the Canaanite God, which could be understood as to why it became a word for God to Hebrew culture, especially being that that's, they need a word for God. So there you go, El. And then in that case, what you get in in Latin, what came out. If you do this research, what I'm talking about, you do it. You'll be on a fascinating adventure, and it's really interesting to see where the word El originates. Just do the etymology on it and how many forms the word has taken since the time of Canaan. And in Latin, it is the word they use for thee, and it is the same word that's traveled on. It's the same reason why we use the word thee also. And you go, well, yeah, no, thee means God, guys. I don't know if you know that. A lot of people don't. But thee comes from the word theos, which is Greek, winds up being uh, theo in Latin, and then thee, which is what we use. But it's as a placer for a marker for a noun like thee, right? That's what Latin uses L for. I don't know. I'm no linguistic on all of this, but it was it's fun for me. And I was going down quite an unexpected adventure when I went down the L cycle or the L and going and figuring. I don't know what led me on. Oh, it was that I was wanting to know why Egyptian, because I was studying Egyptian, the language, and wondering why, because there was, okay, if Moses would have called them Israelites, those sort of things, there's an L in Israel, right? Which is the same L that we're talking about, God in the name. So I'm thinking, well, they don't have an L in the ancient Egyptian language. They just didn't use their tongue to make an L sound, not until the Ptolemaic era came around, till the Greeks came around. But that was at the very end of Egypt's reign. I mean, the last few hundred years, basically, of Egypt. L, they didn't say L, so it led me down. Like, where did this? Okay, Israelites came out of Egypt. I went, okay, well then L, and that led me down the Canaanite and where did L and all this fascinating road of L and the separation of the word from the and L in Latin itself and how it's used, in the Latin world, being all of the languages um, that derive from Latin. It's amazing. Look it up. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. And I see, let's see. See, now Alyssa Levine, I love it. She goes, bag means food. And I'm taking this as Hebrew. So that's why I love bagels. Bag L. Oh, food of God. Look at that. Alyssa Levine, God would be proud of you, or is proud of you. Well, that I'm proud of it. That's really neat. I like stuff like that. Bag L. But you see, that's interesting to me how the Hebrew religion, the ancient Hebrew religion, well, it is ancient as it is, even to this day, but the religion, as I dig into it, the way they use L, it's like it's only in a real reference to God. If you notice it throughout, and now others will say, no, we use it this way or something. I don't know. But in the names that I look up, that is names of places to people's names, Hebrew that is, that have L, or the letter, if you're they're using it, is going to be a reference to God in that word. And that's fascinating. That is fascinating. Bag L. L, yeah, Alyssa. Okay, I'm going to L. I mean, going to hell on that one. Sorry. Forgive me, God. Let's see. Who I will work that out in my prayers tonight. Let's see. Um, Nodality says yes. Love going down the proverbial rabbit hole. Um, mm, that's a scary one though to go down with sometimes with people, because it's like you're holding hands with somebody and you're going down and it's fun, it's a new event. Then you realize you're just holding their arm and the body's gone and you're like, ah. That's how that can wind up. And that's what that feels like to me sometimes when I go down that rabbit hole sometimes with people. Um, Alyssa says, like the other night, I think you could be Jewish. I said the other night, I think you could be Jewish. Well, Alyssa Levine, thank you for that. I've done very little genealogy on my family, and I look at genealogy as pure entertainment, and I love it. Just like etymology, I would love to find some ethnical in my blood down the line, other than white, other than Scottish, Irish, German, Dutch. Nothing wrong with that. I love my people. Look at me, I'm turning Jewish even right now. So then maybe there is. I don't know. I don't know. But I love that about the bagel, the bagel. Man, I cannot forget that one. That is too cool. Wow. Food of God. Well, thank you, Alyssa, for that. That is really freaking cool. Ah, shut up and sing. The problem is I don't know what to sing about these days other than some Egyptians. Walk like an Egyptian. I hear somebody singing that. We'll sing that. Oh, yeah, this stuff, this has some effect going on. Don't you love this cup? Like at a party, it's very Asian. I think Chinese is the sort of design sort, right? But look up front, up close. Isn't that cool? This is Lucy's. I don't know. It looks like the apocalypse or something going on. What is going on here? Let's see. We've got yeah, but some sort of apocalyptic scene. Yeah, we got some man, poor guy running across. And you notice all the detail and everything. And the one human, that's how he's drawn, running across the London Bridge. I don't know what that is. Okay, what do we have here? Oh my. It's just a bunch of pterodactyls and robots, and this is truly, oh, there's your classic UFO. This is official. This is how the world is going to end, well predicted on a very Asian influenced of some sort of mug. Oh, yes. Okay. Anyway, and Alyssa, I want to ask you this. Let me just ask you this. There's your name, Alyssa. If somebody can go, as you're the one that's given me more L's, your name has L in it right there, and it's Lisa also, L Lisa, which I'm going to predict that that is the original or more of original tone to Lisa. What we use as Lisa would be Alyssa or Elisa, Alicia or Alicia. Also L though. There's the L once again. E, she goes Elisa. So Lee. Is that though, Alyssa, is that Hebrew? If Lee is Hebrew, which I believe it is, then that L, I'm sure in it, the letter itself, L, is going to have the reference to, in its origin, in its etymology. If you probably look it up, I'm going to put, I'm going to, I say put money, I'd put money on it that it is the L in it, or the way the L itself, maybe not the E, but the L. And then the Yah, of course, is another reference to God. Um, Now, when you put something together like the two names for God in Hebrew, which is El in one form and Yah in another, what I find interesting is you get one form of El, you get El Yahweh, right? El Yahweh, and in that way, you're not really using El as the form of God. Maybe you're more like using it in the form that the Latin way of using it as a noun placer marker, like to say the in that form. That's where it may have, I'm certain that's where it started raising its head up to be used as that form, as a placer marker for a noun, was when using it in forms of like L instead of God. We're going to say, well, everything's God's, so that's why we use the word the, because theos in Greek means God. So if everything is God's, you can't, that's a great noun marker for something. So I noticed that El and Yah get used both the same ways, as the and God. And correct me if I'm wrong here on El Yahweh. Um, I'm pretty sure. I mean, once we start digging into definitions like what I'm going into, I'm sure there are some pretty religious people that are going, ooh, don't start doing that. You're starting to touch on things that I don't agree on, you know. But it's interesting because I have tried to eat from that part of the tree that you're not supposed to eat from, and that is studying the etymology on that name. And it is a difficult one, and I'm no scholar. And I've listened to scholars even to try to come up with some, and I think I have some good conclusions as to what's going on. And when we say these things, it really just is saying, hey, the one in reality at the end of the day, because it all has to come down to a human phonetic tongue for you religious believers out there. It has to come to a human tongue, the name of God, that would be right. So if you're really thinking that man can pronounce God's true name, be a fun debate with somebody until they kill you. But if somebody can keep an open mind on that one in conversation, it's interesting to me without offending anyone. Just bring it up and let's all be curious and put our dogmas out the window for a minute and challenge your dogmas when you're looking at history a bit, you know. Don't stray too far, just or not. You know, for some people I recommend don't. That can lead to some different perspectives that can be different for people, and that cannot be good. All I know is that when I'm going into different avenues of study, I go into those avenues with an open perspective, and I let that perspective, if I can help it, without any dogmas or anything, let it kind of build its own, and then I can come. Then I can look at. That's the way that's the way my brain works on these things. Then I'm able to work things out at the end. And then if somebody's in the middle, they're saying, "Well, you know, you got to look at it this way." I'll listen to them, but then I'll add that to all of my stuff there, and I put tax in everything, and then I put them up on a wall, and I see if it looks like it's working there. Is it probable? Is what I'm going towards. Like we don't know. Is that a probability? Is that? Because everything's possible, right? But what is more probable? And that's what I look for when I'm searching. And I'm not the best at getting the probabilities always, but nor is anybody else. I like to have conversation with those that have that state of mind. And I don't know. I've done a lot of research on it, but I'm at the same question. Or, I have I have evidence of something that might be able to help with that, you know, because some things like that, you just can't, you're not going to get an answer like for the name Yahweh. You're not going to. So I'm not in search of anything like that, mind you. There's nothing. But what I search for is where these beliefs come from that we have as humans, um, in culture. And I love culture, guys. I don't want to get rid of culture. And I don't also want everyone to think that by appreciating culture so much as to blend it, that's so cool. I love blending culture. That's why we have such a great culture, and I do call it that here in America. It's the blend of cultures that make the great culture. But when you blend it so much, you start taking away from the original culture. And for me as an artist, I love the taste of foods and culture. I love the art of all. I love the music, of course. It comes with it all. And and that's my adventure when I'm going through these moments of discovery. Um, and it makes me happy. And then somebody gets upset and then they're like killing people because of genealogy and different things. It just, really, you shouldn't take it like that. Everybody should love their history and love. If you have some mix in your blood, love it. If not, don't go looking for it. If you're going to go kill somebody over this stuff, don't take it so bloody seriously, man. We're right here living in this moment, and then it's gone. I can guarantee you that much. You're not coming back to this right here. That we know. Wherever, yeah, we can have our own beliefs in our world, but I see no evidence of us ever physically coming back. Now, maybe I'm not putting down reincarnation believers. Here's where I start offending people. See, this is what I'm talking about, man. I just need to shut up. So, on that, guys, I don't still know what to say. Let's see. You say you were wrong to ever leave me alone. Now you're sorry, you're lonesome and scared. And you say you'd be happy if you could just come back home. So here's a quarter, call someone who cares. Call someone who would listen and might give a damn. Maybe one of your sordid affairs. But don't you come around here handing me none of your lies. So here's a quarter, call someone who cares. You remember those times, right? Well, I thought what we had could never turn back. So you're leaving, caught me unaware. But the fact is you can run, and girl, that can't be undone. So here's a quarter, call someone who cares. Call someone who would listen and might give a damn. Maybe one of your sordid affairs. Don't you come around here handing none of your lies. So here's a quarter, call someone who cares. Yeah, now here's a quarter, call someone who cares. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Back in the day, right? When it was only a quarter. All right, guys. I will see you next time, next Thursday. I'm gonna try to get somebody over here. I'll see. I think I might have somebody. Katrina Bree might join me tomorrow. I mean, next Thursday. Sorry, might join me here. So I will see you then, guys. Thank you all. Thank you all. I am going back into uh, Middle and New Egypt here for a moment. Okay. Peace. God be with you. Love you all. Lucy.